bride price. What is bride price? Bride price is the money, property, or compensation that the groom gives to the wife's family in order to replace their labor that they have taken because they have asked for their hand in marriage. An example of bride price would be the groom giving the wife's family rice, sheep, and money to help replace the woman that left their family, for example, their labor. Is bride price common in the United States? No. We never hear of it because it's not common in the United States. It's only common in other countries, for example, Afghanistan or Africa.
In the United States, people have the privilege to choose who they want to marry. In a place where bride price is required, people might be forced to marry someone who they do not love because the guy cannot afford to pay the bride price.
Sometimes when people think of bride price, they think that they're not marrying for love. Like in America, we're free. We can choose who we want to marry. We choose who we want to love. We were not born and destined to marry just this one person. They practice bride price in some countries in the Middle East, Asia, or even Africa. And sometimes when the baby girl is born, she's already destined who she's going to marry when she's older. They already have her plan figured out for her. She doesn't have a choice like we do here in America. Over there, when she marries the man first, and then she learns to fall in love with him, or learns to love the guy, or she just learns to accept the fact that she's going to be with this guy for the rest of her life. Not in America. Here we fall in love first. We live this phase. We go step by step, and then we marry the person we want to spend the rest of our lives with. They don't, and sometimes I believe that they marry more for financial stability than love, because the father won't give his daughter away to someone who doesn't have enough cows, money, sheep, or rice, or whatever they want to trade the daughter in for. They have a specific amount of what they want. But then if you think about it, here in the U.S., a girl's not going to want to marry a man if he doesn't have a job, right? So, I don't know, that's what I believe. It's more over there, I think it's based more on financial stability than it is love. Since they have to learn to love the person, or pretend they have to love the person.
We believe that bride price is unfair to women because they are treated more like property instead of an individual person. They are just used for cleaning, cooking, having children. And we also believe that it's unfair because women, they are taken out of school to marry someone who is older than them. For example, an 11-year-old is chosen to marry a 40-year-old man, which they do not have the choice to marry that person. We believe that people are going to agree with what we have to say because here in America we were born and raised to love anybody that we want to and pick anybody that we want to marry. So we don't have to be taken out of our way, like out of school, and have to be obligated to marry somebody else. So we believe that they're going to agree with what we have to say about having culture differences here in Afghanistan, how they have to have the bride price, and we don't have to do that here.
Father pays a bride price to the bride's father as a trade-off. For example, the groom's father might give him goats, rice, and sugar, and once the bride's father feels it's a fair price to pay, then he hands over his daughter's hand in marriage.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is one of the questions. How would you feel if there was a bride price for your groom's father to pay the way they do in Afghanistan as a trade-off in marriage?
I would feel like it's legalized prostitution.
Really?
And I would feel like
that's a really good point.
No money in the world worth to buy daughters.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. We have daughters. I mean, I have all daughters.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And do you believe our motives for getting married here are different than in Afghanistan or any other countries?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you believe our motives for getting married here are different?
Yeah. What do you believe the motives here are instead of over there?
I think from what you've told me, over there, the girl doesn't have much of a choice. The guy kind of selects her, pays for her, and leaves with her.
Yeah, usually we choose if we want to marry. We want to get married.
Yeah, and it's a desire, and no one
and we can
gets
still
money
marry
for you.
somebody even if they don't have enough goats to marry.
Yeah, but then think about it. Over there they get married, basically they base it on, you know, how much the guy's family owns, if they have enough money or whatever to take care of the daughter. But over here, we don't want to marry someone with no job, right? And no car and stuff.
If we want to marry somebody and their family doesn't come from a social class that our family thinks acceptable, we still have that option to marry them.
But we still look at financial stability a little bit.
You do, and I do. But that doesn't mean that everybody.
Yeah, we don't base it. We don't base it
You know what
exactly
I'm
on that.
saying?
Yeah.
I think some people marry just for love.
Yeah.
Maybe the first time.
They're like, okay, I want money.
And the last time's just a really old guy with a lot of money. No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously. I think we have more choices, and it's nice to be an American.
Yeah. We have freedom of choice. All right. Thank you very much.
No problem. You guys have fun.
Over Afghanistan, the groom's father pays a bride price to the bride's father as a trade-off. For example, the groom's father might give them goats, rice, and sugar, and once the bride's father feels it's fair, then he hands over his daughter's hand in marriage. Okay? That being said, how would you feel if your father had to pay bride price the way they do in Afghanistan as a trade-off in marriage?
My dad had to pay?
Yeah, like he had to pay like something in order to be able to marry his daughter.
Okay, so our dad had to pay their dad in order to get her to marry me.
Yeah, like the way in Afghanistan, you know, they get rice, sugar.
Is she hot? I'm sorry, I can't.
Tell the girl, I mean, I think that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
You understand why that is, though, don't you? Like over in Afghanistan, why they do that?
Why?
It's a like back over like in Egypt, things like that. The Arab culture transfers down. It's like the father has to basically, because the woman is, you know, it's the bride, it's the queen, that kind of thing. It transfers down from that, where you have to pay, like you actually have to give yourself a little bit of something to the family to show that you're dedicated to that family.
But would you do it? You think like if it was you doing it?
Okay, say if I had to pay someone for my son to marry someone, in this state, in this culture, no, I understand. I would do that. I'll make the questions.
Okay, well,
He's a teacher, sorry.
Sorry.
do you believe people's motives for marriage is, you know, love, or do you think it's like financial stability, or are there other reasons besides?
I think it's all the above.
Mix them all?
You'd want to say love can just take over everything, but in this day and age,
Financial stability.
Maybe financial stability makes you love a person sometimes.
yeah.
Well, you basically answered all of them.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
When asked about bride price, women tend to take the subject more seriously than guys did, just because they put themselves in that position and put their daughters and think about it more deeply than guys do, because they're not the ones in those situations.
In one of the interviews, the women had mentioned that bride price is like legal prostitution, because the girl is obligated to marry the man, and therefore she is obligated to have sex with him even though she doesn't want to.
When we interviewed the man, we got to see it from a man's point of view. And one of the first comments he made was she hot? So the guy seemed much more superficial than the woman did. A woman took it more deeply. And also, he began to tell us about that bride price came from valuing a woman. Whenever a man gave a bride price to the woman's family, it's because he was taking a hard worker from their house. So they're losing somebody in their family. So he thought that trading in with goods or something would replace her.
We learned that men and women have a different point of view on the word bride price. Women see it more as offensive, and men see it as honoring a woman. In the beginning, when we took on this project, we never saw the point that there is also a man's point of view in the subject. So there's a man, and at the end, we realized that there's a man's point of view and a woman's point of view on the subject called bride price.